Welcome to Rialto Channel's Real Women Podcast. I'm Francesca Rudkin. Throughout March and April, Rialto Channel is focusing on female actors and filmmakers who shine the spotlight on the talent and importance of the female perspective in film. In this podcast, local actors, filmmakers and other industry leaders share their stories. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by New Zealand Film Commission CEO Annabelle Sheehan. The New Zealand Film Commission believes the voices and perspectives of women are integral to telling the stories of our country. And to talk more about this, Annabelle Sheehan joins me now. Thank you so much for your time today.
Fine, it's great to be here.
Now, look, you took over the role of CEO of the New Zealand Film Commission a couple of years ago, January 2018. What was your first impression when you arrived in New Zealand of our film industry and your first impression of women in the film industry? And how well are they represented and supported?
Well, I think that if I focus first of all on women in the film industry, I would say that New Zealand, like the US, like UK, like Australia, it's always been challenging for a woman to have a career in the screen industry. And the stats bore that out for all countries, you know, what's been happening for women and how to get further ahead in their screen career and to be treated seriously as creatives. And we know it's still a challenge all over the world, just witnessing, I guess, the Oscar noms too. So, yeah, I think New Zealand was not dissimilar to where I'd come from in terms of the challenges, and also that there were in place some ideas and strategies to promote women in terms of, or to ensure that more women apply for funding and to ensure that we're careful about and thoughtful about every project. And there was already a target for 50-50 in 2020 in place when I arrived, which had been announced in 2017 by the previous CEO, Dave Gibson. So it was up to us in the 2 years to get on with that and work out how do you do that? You know, what can you do, or can we see more women applying and more women succeeding, and how will that take place? So, yeah.
So, Annabelle, that 50-50 goal, was that to see women applying for funding or receiving funding?
No, it was wanting to see 50-50. So, for example, we would like to see 50% participation of women directors in projects financed by the Film Commission, for example. So, in 2018-19, there were 57% of all feature films included at least one female director. And the reason I put it that way is, of course, in 1 year there was Waru, 1 year there was Vai, and those 8 women only counted as one in the stat. We're not trying to beef the stat. And so that's a great result because the 5-year benchmark average was 38%. So I think there's really been great gains for women in features as directors of feature films in the last couple of years, and that's been a great result. And we've seen similar strong numbers regarding producers and writers. So
how have you achieved that, Annabelle?
Look, I think there's the awareness around the world, and therefore including New Zealand, of the importance of diversity, the value of women's voice is really helping that change. And then I think, obviously, we were making statements saying we're really keen to have women come in. We launched the 125 Fund, which was related to women's suffrage celebrations of 125 years, and it was 1.25 million put forward towards any project that had 2 out of the 3 key creatives as female. And so we got a number of great applications for that, and we awarded it to 3 films, of which one is nearly complete, another is about to go into production, and another soon after. So I think when you make statements like that, you're holding up a beacon. You're saying, we want women to come to the Film Commission. We want you to apply. We're saying to producers and businesses that we support women directors and women writers and producers. So that can be part of what helps get more applications as well.
Diversity is such a catchphrase at the moment. What does it mean to the New Zealand Film Commission?
Well, it's really important to us to ensure that we're reaching and accessible to audiences from many different backgrounds. Obviously, our tangata whenua, in our national partners, Māori filmmakers. We want to see a strong representation of Māori filmmakers. And as you be aware, we launched the Māori strategy, Rotaki Māori, in 2018 at the same time as we launched the 125 Fund. And so we've also appointed the Māori Screen Executive, or Pōwhakahare, Karen Wakatibo, and she's been rolling out some of the programs that we had in relation to development and production there. So that's part of the steps towards that. We also did a survey late last year, and we put it out it ended up being taken up by, I think it was 800 people that went out to 2,000. And and that survey was to ask, how do you define yourself? Are you, and many people define themselves as intersectional, as maybe male, Māori with a disability, or female, white with a disability, or, LGBTQI or something like that. Actually, I'd like to say that sentence again. Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Many people define themselves as intersectional, i.e. that they didn't just define themselves regarding gender, they, define themselves along all the different lines of questioning that we'd asked. We wanted to capture all the issues that people face that around difference and diversity and how that affects them in the screen industry. And we asked them questions like, have they experienced unspoken barriers and discrimination? Have they seen others experience barriers and discrimination? So we've been capturing, therefore, data from people of lots of different backgrounds to say, how is your career going in the film industry, and do you feel like your path is clear or full of obstacles? And so, for example, with women, we're aware of what they might see as being the kinds of things that are challenges to them getting ahead. And we've also looked at everybody in that group and what are the kinds of things they see as being challenges for them achieving what they want to achieve. So I think this report we'll be formally presenting later this year, but we presented some of the findings at the Power of Inclusion conference.
And Annabelle, can you tell me what were women saying that they wanted, female filmmakers? What kind of support did they want?
So the biggest percentage was pay equity. So women identified pay equity first in 29% of cases. They identified they need more funding in 16% of cases. They wanted to see more diversity in leadership roles and, of course, support regarding access and childcare. So those are kind of the things that we captured from the women who took on board that survey. When you drill down into the figures further and, for example, looked at LGBTQI and gender diverse, you would find that that group were seeking awareness and training. Those were the top things that they would like to see happening to assist them in breaking down barriers in the screen industry. So, yeah, it's been a fascinating survey, and we're really looking forward to putting out that report. It gave us so much data that in order to tell a story about the diversity of the New Zealand screen industry and what are the challenges and opportunities, we've had to take some time to think through all the answers, which have been really interesting.
And so I'd love to know where you sort of see the New Zealand Film Commission coming in to assist female filmmakers in helping them with some of these challenges. Personally, where would you love to see the Film Commission kind of moving forward in this area?
Well, what we want to see coming out of the report is to develop a policy to look at the systems, the extent to which we're accessible, the extent to which we're connecting with communities and making people feel like they know how to apply. It is complicated because we need to act in partnership with guilds and in partnership with post-secondary media production educators. The Film Commission can't be a training place for all things. We are a funding body for projects that are packaged and ready to produce. So, yet we do see our role in professional development as really important. But if we share this material and we talk about it to that broader community of people and partners who have a responsibility to look at professional development in the screen industry in New Zealand, I think together we can all work towards ensuring that we're bringing new waves, new voices into the New Zealand screen industry. And it's really clear globally that that's what festivals and markets are looking for. They want new voices. And, once again, the Oscars indicate that in terms of the win for Parasite, the win for Taika Waititi and Jojo Rabbit. There's a real interest in a different way of telling stories and in evolving the way in which the world looks at itself. And diversity is a really important part of that business.
Annabelle, is it still fair to say that it's probably female writers and directors that are struggling to make the leap from talent development initiatives to maybe feature films?
Well, the figures that I was giving you before are for feature films, that 57% of all feature films funded in the 2018-19 year included at least one female director. So that was strong last year, but I agree it will rise and fall over time because it's hard to get that really strongly established kind of mechanism or system where both men and women and people of different backgrounds have equal opportunity. The industry itself is, of course, not as diverse as it could be, and that leads to blockages for people from different backgrounds. But yeah, because indeed producers have a very strong showing by women. The 5-year average for female producers in New Zealand is that it's 69% of projects will include at least one female producer. And as you know, there's a lot of producers named in production. With writers, the 5-year average is 50%. So for directors, it would be the lowest at 38. And so I would say that is one of the hardest things. We've all got to work hard to, support to ensure that our industry is telling the stories by and for the complexity and diversity that is New Zealand culture.
I often go to film festival or short film festivals in particular, and you just year after year, you just see some absolutely incredible work from female filmmakers. And I keep thinking to myself, surely they, they're ready to make that leap. And I mean, obviously it all depends on, doesn't it, ideas and where scripts are at and things like that. But it seems to me as well, it's very hard to make that leap from short films to feature films. Is that something that the Film Commission assists and works with writer-directors on?
Yes, our talent department is focused on shifting. It's got its actual key performance indicators do lie around the issue of transitioning filmmakers from the short film sector into what you might call feature film or long form or series drama. And the world has changed so much, as you know, in the last 5 to 10 years, that having a short film in a festival like Sundance or something doesn't automatically translate into a feature film career. For everybody, it's hard getting from shorts to features. So that's already the first challenge. And indeed, the second is that there are some actual obstacles. The Directors Guild of America, I think, did a survey a few years ago around how often a first-time director would be taken on board a series drama and how often would they be male or female. And so often they would take a chance on an inexperienced male director over a female director. So that in itself is a clear bias. So, that was pointed out a couple of years ago, and I think people are thinking a lot more about that. So in some jurisdictions, they've really pressed hard that, if they can, that the financing is going to a project which is really thinking hard about the diversity of its directors. So I think we'll see more of that.
Annabelle, just to finish up, are you feeling positive? Are you feeling positive about women in film?
Yes, I do. I really am excited for women in film. I really think it's going to be great. The films that we've got coming out, not even just the 125 ones, we've got films being directed by Ainsley Gardner and by Grace Smith coming up. We've got producers such as Kerry Wakia working on so many amazing projects, including what's about to be released, which is The Legend of Baron Toa, directed by Kyle McNaughton. She is one of those great producers, and she's supported so many women through her programs such as Vi and Waru. I think the history of women in film in New Zealand is incredibly strong, and we should be proud of it. Merita Mita, of course, the documentary made by her son Hepi that circulated and reminded us of her incredible commitment and passion and success that she had in her life as a filmmaker. People such as Dame Galen Preston or equally Nikki Caro. You know, we're seeing women doing some great things, and breakouts like Jackie Van Beek and Madeline Sammy. I'm excited for them. We've got Jane Campion shooting Power of the Dog down in the South Island right now, a really wonderful major high-end drama production that's brought huge value to the country, as well as, fantastic cast and drawing on, it's like, I think it's, so many of its crew, over 90% of its crew being New Zealanders. So we've got women doing amazing things in New Zealand, and I think there's only going to be more to come.
Annabelle, it has been a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.